Hello everyone, welcome back to yet again another showcase on Dark Souls 3. So, you're probably looking for a weapon that's specific. You want it to be large, long. You also want it to cause bleed damage, but you don't want to be too heavy either. Well, first off, you have real specific tastes if you want something like that. Secondly, there's only one weapon that really fits that bill specifically. Now, surprisingly enough, it's not a weapon of fiction either. It is an actual weapon existing in the real world that you can actually find and probably purchase. Of course, I mean the Flameberge. Now, Flameberge is a real weapon, although not casually used, and usually used against civilian uprisings, which is pretty brutal. Doesn't fare well against armor, but the description reads, "Great sword with undulating blade. The blade resembling flame was crafted to mutilate flesh and reduce bleeding. The skill is the plain old stance, which is, when in stance, the normal attack will break a foe's guard from below, and strong attack to slash upwards with a forward lunge." But yes, this weapon is possible in the real world, even though it looks rather impossible or a lot of effort. Although Dark Souls do make it a bit exaggerated, but the general concept is there. Now, something new is, I'll be looking out for pretty much real world inspiration of these weapons, and comparing it likewise. So, the actual Flameberge I have here looks remarkably similar. They took clearly the basic design, almost right to the letter. Mind you, the flanges on the blade are a little more exaggerated on the game sword, and the game sword is missing the ring guard, but it's of little difference. The actual Flameberge is not so extravagant in flanges. Those take forever to make. So in basic, it's just a bunch of waves down the blade. Interesting no less how closely similar they made it. Very nice, and you can even own a Flameberge. No problem with that. Onto the stats, and we look at the physical. The physical is actually quite high. Higher than you'd think would be for starting off. This is just a great sword. Although it's rare to be found. Be found in most parts of the game. Now, other than the physical, we do have the additional effect of bleeding, as I mentioned earlier. Other than that, the attribute bonus isn't too typically impressive, it's just 2Ds, for strength and dexterity. The attribute requirement requires you a little bit in both categories of strength and dexterity. So a little bit. The stance cost, the plain old sword stance, so it's 17 and 20 for cost. Weight-wise, it is a bit hefty of 8.5, but I don't think that's truly realistic in terms of its actual weight. The real thing would have weighed, I don't know, 6 pounds? 7? So not that heavy. So overall, a pretty powerful weapon in terms of physical. Bonus-wise, maybe not so much. And with bleeding, well, you can definitely catch up with some guards and some guys who like to defend a lot, and maybe even PvP. So around, could be a good weapon. But for now, we'll just contend with what we have here and what the animations will be. Which is, moving on to animations. Animation section, the plain attack is the plain greatsword swing. The power attack is pretty much a downward lunge and a side swipe. Unusual. Plain attack for two-handed is the basic overhead and downward swing. Power attack though is a horizontal swipe, which is indifferent to most of these great swords. The stance is again probably the basic stance for most great swords, and with the basic stance. Sprint attack is simple side swipe. Now, in terms of upgrade, this weapon does require Titanite shards, even does bleeding damage. With the Titanite, we can see you can get a little bit of damage for the basic, but not so much for the bonus, because that bonus isn't really doing much. So we'll see if that improves. Going on, we can see we can continue getting decent damage for the basic, but not a whole lot for bonus. Not really going with anywhere with bonus, to be honest. Looks like we'll at least double the damage, but not much more than that. But physically, quite powerful, but the attributes not change. So, performing in the field. You treat this weapon as any other greatsword, but the additional effect of it, you got quite a powerful greatsword at your command. Speed-wise, it's no different from any other sword. But you got plenty of power and you got that bleed damage you can always count on. Backstab, plenty of damage. Plenty indeed. Nearly 500. I mean, I was expecting that with this kind of damage. I don't expect any of these guys to survive one hit. And they do not. Let's try the stance power attack. Kill it before I try this. There you go. Excellent. 433. I was hoping he would raise his shield, but no matter. Against a much larger opponent, the Gargoyle. Now, I don't expect the bleed damage to really play any prominent role here at all, despite taking multiple hits. But I'm going to try and break through his guard with this. There could be a chance. We'll see. Boom, and it worked. Excellent. Very nice. Quite impressive, to be honest. Now, against the more powerful opponents, the Black Knights, they're not going to be such an easy prey with their continuous aggressive combos. And not to mention, I don't want to play them too close where the other one will help them. But in terms of every other battle, I expect us to go down like most great swords. I simply get around his moves and hit him hard. I want to try and go for a backstab and get the final damage amount. There we go. Excellent. 440. Excellent. Moving on to the pros and cons of the Flameberge. On the pro side, we got that bleeding damage in there. And it's also quite a powerful weapon too. And it is fairly easy to use too, since it is just a plain old greatsword animations, aside from the power attacks. On the con side, it's a little bit on the heavy side. Just a little bit. And thanks to being a greatsword, it is a bit slow. Those are pretty minor cons. Moving on to the score, I'll give damage 9 out of 10 for all the obvious reasons. Reach, 8 out of 10 for being quite a long blade, longer than the real-world inspiration. Animation gets a 6 out of 10. Now normally I would give it lower, but those two power moves are at least unique to this weapon, or indifferent to most weapons. Bonus, 3 out of 10 for rather weak on the bonus end. Miscellaneous, 6 out of 10 for having the bleed damage. And it would be higher though, but this weapon is incredibly rare to get though. While thralls only have a 5% drop rate, which is why it's only 6. Would give it a bit higher for that, but no matter. It is available elsewhere in the game though, multiple places. So in total, the Flameberge gets 32 out of 50, which I classify good. It's pretty good. So Flameberge is just a plain awesome weapon. It looks awesome, it has plenty of damage, and you can even get one in real life, though taking care of the damn thing might be a hassle. And storage is also another problem, since there's no traditional scabbard for the thing. But oh well. But you want it in the game? Well, if you can get your hands on it, go for it. It's pretty awesome. But anyway, that's been Showcase for today. I thank you for watching, and see you guys next time. Take care.